guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to read a very entertaining and informative article, which is titled, Gen Z Women Are Ditching the Girl Boss Lie for Tradwife Life, Putting Family First. And guys, this article is going to go into this whole thing, some research and some studies done, poll numbers and all that, and how apparently the young women, the Gen Z women, many of them, are now, they're not interested in the whole girl boss thing that the feminist movement has been pushing for so long. Many now are thinking twice about that whole thing and want to embrace the whole tradwife thing, where the guy brings home the bacon, she's at home with the kids, traditional wife, that type of thing. And, I got to tell you, when I hear or see an article like this, it definitely catches my eye. It definitely is music to my ears, because anything that strikes through the heart of the green-haired coven, that definitely makes my day. But the thing is, I got to be honest with you, I'm not quite buying the whole thing. I'm not quite buying the sincerity of those that claim this is the life they want to pursue. I'm not quite buying how feasible and realistic it is given the environment. And before I get into the article, I'm going to say why, and I'll be curious what you think. Well, first of all, the reason I'm not quite buying the sincerity of all this, I'm thinking this is more of like a chameleon thing, is because the timing is very interesting. Many of you guys are well aware, if you pay attention and read a lot, that the young crowd, the Gen Zers that are graduating college the last few years, they're having a very hard time finding employment, let alone good employment. As you're aware, AI is really beginning to start to take jobs, particularly white-collar, entry-level type of things that most young graduates are going to have. And they're really struggling. So it's very interesting over the last couple of years, and this is only growing stronger and stronger, that all of a sudden, this young group of gals that for decades have been brainwashed to be, I am woman, hear me roar, I'm as good as any, I can do more than a man, blah, blah, blah. The empowerment thing, I can have a huge career and raise kids and do it all. All of a sudden, I'm going to just throw that away and become a traditional wife, and my husband does takes care of all the decisions, brings home all the bacon, I take care of the kids and all that. Yeah, how interesting the timing when, guess what, employment prospects have dwindled, and it's very difficult. Think about that one. Or two, let's look at this being realistic. A lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of households in the United States, statistically, are living paycheck to paycheck, and that's with two incomes. So how is this going to work when all of a sudden you have a big chunk of young gals thinking twice about the whole career woman thing? They want to be a traditional wife, and they're going to get to be taken care of by one income in the household, the husband. That's going to be quite challenging, and to have a standard of living that they felt that they would enjoy or feel entitled to. How's that going to work out? Doesn't seem to work. It doesn't seem too feasible to me. And last but not least, after many, 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 many years of young guys and middle-aged guys have seen the current dating scene, the attitudes towards your average guy, many guys are done with the whole thing. They're not interested anymore. So good luck trying to go down the supposed tradwife route and be a little more bearable. A lot of guys not interested. How many guys watching this channel and other channels for years have had negative experiences enough and said, you know what? I don't need to be married or in a relationship. Or if I want to do a relationship, I'm not getting married. I'm not interested in kids. I'm just going to do what I want to do. That, again, hammers the plan. So real quickly, this whole thing could do a complete 180 right back to the way things have been. But anyhow, it's an interesting article. I'm going to cover it and, let you guys, I'd like to hear what you have to say in the comment section. So it says here, Gen Z women are rejecting the decades-long feminist push that told them that family comes second to careers or fame and independence at all costs. Fox News host Lara Trump breaks down the new reality playing out among young women. It says the clip highlights a fresh Eddie Birdie study showing young women ranking their dream lives with the tradwife path, stable marriage, children, and a focus on home and family. Coming in at a commanding 47%, the old girl boss dream of luxury, money, and solo hustle scores at 23%. Oh, so this is why I'm doing this. How interesting. I can hear the green-haired, no-septum brigade screaming and throwing tantrums all over wherever they hang out. Yeah. Trump laid it out cleanly on air, saying, for so long there was this feminist movement that tried to push and tell us that we should all just kind of put aside wanting to start a family. Don't worry about getting married. Don't worry about having kids. You should solely focus on your career. Well, that's definitely what was sold. And that, or better yet, you can do it all. Right? But how many of you guys have seen women that try to do it all? It's exhausting and very difficult. And they end up regretting, and that's why you have so many that crack and end up on antidepressants and in therapy. It says here, she continued noting that what so many women have experienced firsthand. And I know so many women, and you probably do too, who got to a certain age and realized, wait a second, this is something I actually want. In many cases, they have either had a huge struggle to have kids, or they couldn't do it all, and they were left absolutely devastated. Correct. Because guess what? Not anybody can do it all and have a comfortable life. You're exhausted. You're worn out. There's nothing wrong having help. There's nothing wrong with having traditional gender roles where a guy takes care of certain things and the woman takes care of certain things. But back to the whole how feasible it is economically, how many households nowadays depend on 2 paychecks, and even them, you know what I mean? Trump was quick to push back against the usual leftist attacks. But you're right, she said. This isn't about locking women up in the home and saying like you just can't go out and pursue things independently. This is about women continuing to work and have independent pursuits of their own, but it's a focus on returning to family. She drove the point home with a truth many mothers already know. Those of us with families of our own know it doesn't matter what I do the rest of my life. The most powerful title we'll ever have is the title of mom. Well, I gotta tell you guys, I've known some of these G.I. Joe chicks that think they can do it all, and they're worn out, they're exhausted, and it's not a very happy family life. They're not with the kids very often. And I've known some that are obviously a lot older that the dad made enough money and mom was home, and guess who was happier? Take a wild guess. But it was at least, these were older people compared to now. They're not Gen Z. We're talking like boomers or some or some early stage Gen Xers, and the husband made enough money. So as we previously highlighted, mundane office jobs have been increasingly pushed on women as an attractive alternative to starting a strong family and becoming a wife and mom. Yeah, well, a lot of mundane things are going to be replaced or being replaced by AI or one-day robots run by AI. You'll see, guys. So-called feminists have sold Girlboss careerism and as exciting and liberating, only for it to deliver burnout, regret, and a fertility crisis instead. This is a direct backlash against the Girlboss narrative that dominated media and culture for years, promising fulfillment through endless hustle while quietly sidelighting marriage and motherhood. Young women watch older generations burn out, delay families until it's too late, or end up alone and regretful now they're choosing differently. So I'm not saying that all these young gals are chameleons and full of crap and taking the easier option given that job prospects are extremely difficult. I'm sure there are some that witnessed aunties and cousins and people they knew that went down that route and they're worn out and exhausted, or the type said, I don't need a man and I can wait till later in life, and they didn't get it and they're writing blogs and whining about it. I know a couple gals like that. So I'm not saying that they all are being chameleons about this, but I'm sure some recognize early on, or some were raised with traditional values. But still, I have to question the timing of all this. The Eddie Birdie findings noted that nearly half of Gen Z women now rank the Tradwife lifestyle, happily married with kids, man as the primary earner, emphasis on peace and security, above the high-pressure corporate path. After years of being sold the idea that career must come first, many are simply opting out of the exhaustion. Or is it possible for many it's becoming trendy, and since human beings tend to operate like sheep, especially women, they're going down that trendy path? I don't know. I'm naturally cynical, but you get cynical after living on this planet for nearly half a century. Well, of course, the usual critics chimed in with the tired script about women being forced into baby factories. But the date and the sentiment on the ground tell you a different story. Young women are not being coerced. They're waking up to what actually delivers lasting fulfillment after watching the alternative fail. This move toward family-first living aligns with a broader cultural reset. After years of woke messaging that demean traditional roles. Gen Z is choosing stability, real relationships, and the freedom that comes from building a home rather than climbing a corporate ladder that often leads to nowhere rewarding. Well, again, choosing stability or climbing the corporate ladder, and obviously it's not working out. This sounds like the path to something that's easier, at least. Is that more the reason than, the husband and the kids and all that? Again, we can debate. It's quiet but powerful rejection on the left's attempt to redefine womanhood around endless ambition and away from the very things that have sustained societies for generations. The message is clear: family isn't a setback, it's the ultimate win. And more young women are embracing that truth every day. Okay, this wasn't a long article, but again, I had to cover this because this is stuff we've been talking about for a long time. And I know I'm going to get a lot of different opinions out there. I'm sure somebody's going to say, a lot of guys are going to agree with me that the timing is very interesting here about this whole sudden change. Some people may say, hey, I actually know some gals that are younger that do want to go down this path. And it's genuine. Okay, great. But regardless, it is interesting. But oftentimes, it's been proven that there are a lot of chameleons out there. And it'll take the easier route. But back to what I said in the beginning, the timing of all this, when it's very difficult for that particular demographic, a generation to find jobs. AI, just this week, I think I read that Oracle Corporation, set notices that 30,000 employees are basically your toast. Thanks for the help. Thanks for everything and helping to do the things that are now ending your careers. AI. And I've been reading this a lot, and this is just the beginning, guys. It's, a lot of the guys out there that chose trades and solid blue-collar jobs that weren't glamorous, like the college degree and all that, they're having the last laugh because, at least for now, they're fine. Meanwhile, the guys that, I feel bad for the good guys out there that tried their hardest, did what they thought was the right thing, and now either lost their jobs or thinking that, the end is coming pretty soon. It's going to be very tough. But the timing and all this. And again, how's it going to work out when so many guys have no interest in getting married anymore because they've seen what happens? Overall, the family courts haven't changed a whole lot, so they're going to be screwed anyway. And I might add how feasible it is when so many households are paycheck to paycheck with two incomes coming in. And I might add the guys that actually make enough money to be able to provide that life and lifestyle, they have the ultimate choice. And that girl better behave herself, otherwise, whoosh, she gets replaced. Now, I've said enough here. I'm going to read some comments here. As you can imagine, an article like this gets a ton of them. All sorts of opinions, and I'll read a few. It's a little long, but it's good. This guy says, the new Tradwife expects to have all the benefits of the Girlboss lifestyle. Expensive lunches with her friends, mani and pedicures every 2 weeks, hair extensions monthly, a closet full of designer clothes, and 100 pairs of shoes. A new BMW SUV, and biannual ski and beach vacations with other Tradwife couples. Don't forget the McMansions in the best area code, all on one salary, the husband's. And when she turns 40 to 45 years old, she'll blow up the forever marriage. Take the house, kids, 50% of the husband's 401k, and we'll get alimony and will enable her and the children to live in the lifestyle they're accustomed to. While the duped trad husband moves into a studio apartment, eats ramen noodles for dinner, and rides his bike to work. Well, that's a pretty dark assessment of the situation, but it's not too off. But yeah, exactly. And again, how many husbands are going to earn enough of an income to... Another one. Women are realizing that they want to stay home and be a traditional wife right when AI is going to replace them at work. What I say. How convenient. Another one. This guy says, gentlemen, do not be fooled by this crap. Women are changing tactics after discovering over the last 30 and 40 years that 9 to 5 until 70 years old is bone-creakingly painful and living off a man is much easier. Marriage is not an option without the following. Number 1, an ironclad prenup. Number 2, real assets placed in a trust. 3, if kids aren't part of the equation, no ring. There is no reason to marry your roommate who you occasionally boink. It's a 0. Yeah, I don't see why anybody gets married if they're not going to have kids. Seriously. Or somebody gets divorced, a guy has kids, and gets married again, but doesn't have kids. Or even gets married after an awful divorce. Another one. This guy says, that is all good and fine, but you can't put lipstick on a pig and expect it to behave differently. What counts is on the inside. And when a bunch of narcissistic girl bosses decide, hey, they're going to play the Tradwife game, it isn't to be the sweet, submissive, loving women that they should have been decades ago, but to rewrite the game into something hip, edgy, modern, and market as such. In other words, they'll corrupt and F it up as well. And one more. This guy says, you're good luck finding a man that earns enough to make that fantasy real. Thank you. There are guys out there that can do it, but remember, these are gals in their 20s. So the usual guys are going to go for will be 20s and 30s primarily. So, yeah. And if you're lucky enough to overcome the hurdle and he can afford it, you better look really good for the rest of your marriage or he will trade you in for a newer model. Who do you think is getting the college degrees? Because it sure as hell isn't mostly men. Many American men have become whiny, idiotic incels. Look no further than Nick Fuentes. How this Tradwife thing work out for Don Jr.'s first wife, or Donald J. Trump's first two Tradwives. No, this world needs two incomes to raise a family, and ever that may not even be enough. So there you go, lots of opinions. So to me, I'm not quite buying all this given the timing or how realistic it is. But I don't care. I'm just going to sit back and watch the show. But again, an article like this I have to cover because I know darn well it will infuriate the septum ring brigade. Nothing gives me greater pleasure than that. But we'll see. So guys, please do chime in. I really like to hear your opinion on this. Really, do you think this is just being what's the word? I can't think of it. But looking at the situation, choosing the better option. Do you think that's what's going on? Do you think a bunch of chameleons are full of crap? Like, this is a better deal and I have to get a job, or I can't get a job, so therefore I'm going to do the Tradwife thing? I'd like to hear about that. Or, if they do go down this route, how realistic is it? Given the situation, and most people need 2 paychecks to cover just the bare minimum expenses, let alone actually living a lifestyle they want to, that's, not really nice. I'd like to hear about it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.